What's up, guys? My name's Rob Riley. Calvin McChesney is typically behind the camera, and this is Free Coffee Quarantine Edition. So you'll notice if you're watching this or listening to it, it probably looks and sounds a lot different from our typical sort of layout. Me and Calvin are currently on quarantine. So Calvin was tested positive for COVID-19. I've tested negative, but I've been told to quarantine for 4 to 5 days. So tomorrow I get my results. Tomorrow will be about 48 to 50 hours typically, or around then, from my exposure to Kelvin, or last exposure to Kelvin. So at that point, I'll get a rapid test and a long-term test, and we'll see where that goes, and then I'll stay masked up and kind of start working on getting back into normal life. But during quarantine, we still wanted to make sure that we got out some of the end-of-year podcasts and info that we wanted to get out. So we released our interview with Dan Tagliamonte, which, if you haven't seen, was one of our most fun interviews we've done yet. We went to Dan's shop and filmed in there. It was a lot of fun. It was a blast. Dan, thank you for having us and letting us kind of take over your shop for a little bit. Today, we're going to be talking about my financial plans for 2021. So 2020 is obviously drawing to a close here. And with that comes a lot of fun stuff and a lot of not so fun stuff with, any business owners out there, anyone who, handles their own finances or that sort of stuff. You guys know there's a lot of work that needs to be done at the end of the year. That's not so fun, but I am looking forward to a awesome 2021, a more positive year than 2020. And I'm excited to get it moving. So one thing I like to do every year is I like to plan my financials. I kind of like to mentally have a game plan, right, for the next year. Personal goals, that's one thing, but also financial goals and financial planning, and kind of what your layout or your goals and your game plan are going to be. Some people go really, really specific. Some people go pretty vague. And I think I kind of sit in the middle. I just kind of like to focus and understand, like, all right, what am I going to do with my money in 2021, and what am I going to try to contribute to? What am I going to do more of, less of, all that sort of stuff. And I think you should too. I think it's a healthy exercise, and I'm here to kind of just be transparent. I know we talk about money, personal finance, and business a lot on here. So my financial plans for 2021 is something I wanted to share with you guys. If you're someone who has set income, this is a note I'm reading, I'd recommend making a budget and then sort of going off your budget and your free cash flow to set goals. When you're on fixed income or like a set hourly rate for a full-time job and you can do that, that's really good because it allows you to set a budget and have a lot of freedom. Budgets actually give people freedom, and I think that's a pretty common misconception. If you don't have a budget on fixed income or set income, it's really hard to kind of know where your money's going and have the freedom to do other things. So I think that's first and foremost in 2021. If you're on a income that you can depend on, that's something that's consistent, just make a budget. So my financial plan for 2021. First and foremost, I plan on increasing my income. So how is that possible? For me, that means I grow my businesses. What that physically looks like is me buying and selling more ambulances for usedambulances.com, and selling more vehicle graphics and custom apparel for Bob Signs, right? Growing those businesses. Those were plugs if you didn't catch that. Operationally, we might have a podcast on what this actually looks like, but that's irrelevant to this podcast. I think that every new year when you're talking about finances, one, you have to start with budget, but two, you have to start with the in. You have to start with the inflow of cash. You can't budget anything without the in, because without income, you're just negative on any expenses, right? So you have to start with the in. Think about how you can increase your income at all. A yearly raise is nice for those of you that have that sort of influx in cash flow every year. But maybe is it like time to make a job switch for a pay jump? Is it time to start a side hustle after work? Is it time to do something like that to make some more money? I love what I do. I'm not going to be changing it up like that. My plan is more so to increase my output in sales and in just general cash flow. That way I can hopefully net more at the end of the year and on a monthly basis, whatever it might be. But one thing we might be doing is hopefully maybe we can monetize this podcast. Just to put it bluntly, this is a business, right? We're trying to provide an extreme amount of value, but this could potentially make money in 2021. So, we're thinking about everything. I'm thinking about everything. And I think it's healthy and good to do that. If you have some opportunities that you might be able to take advantage of, I would definitely recommend hopping on that. So if your income goes up in 2021, try to avoid lifestyle inflation if you can. Save it and invest the difference, and you'll have way more opportunities in the future. But if you can avoid increasing your lifestyle, if you don't know what lifestyle inflation is, maybe we'll do an episode on that in the future, but look it up. It's essentially where as you make more, you spend more, so your actual quality of life might go up, but your savings rate and everything is actually going down. So not a good thing. Second, the second part of my financial plan for 2021. I plan on putting a sizable amount of money into equity building improvements on my home with Lex. So we're planning on some really fun, pretty affordable stuff in 2021, some renovation projects like new coats of paint, cleaning up the walls, new flooring to get rid of old tiles. These are things that we can do ourselves, things that we can do pretty affordably, all things considered, that have a really, really positive ROI on the building or the home that we purchased. We made the purchase with building equity for the flip in mind, right? We knew we wanted somewhere that we could live that was clean and safe, but also was priced way under market because it might be dated or need upgrades, and that's what we did. If you don't know what building equity means, equity is the value of the home minus the mortgage. So you increase equity in two ways. You pay down the mortgage, but you can also increase the value of the home. So we paid, like I said, under market prices, and there's room because of the neighborhood and the prices that are on the street are much higher than what we paid for our home with the similar square footage and comps. We can force equity by upgrading it, doing renovations, taking down walls, opening up, making the floors nice, simple stuff. All things considered, not super simple, but things that you can do on your own with YouTube, or at least that's our plan, hopefully. So my goal is to create enough equity that I can take out a line of credit against the equity in the home. This will allow me to shrink the need for an emergency fund, which will free up more cash in my portfolio. That's because with the home line of credit, whenever I am in a pickle and I need to spend money, I can borrow against the equity in my home at a really cheap rate. It might not make sense to get rid of my emergency fund altogether, but it might make sense, for me to shrink it from my 3 to 6 months that I typically keep in there to maybe like 1 to 2 or 3 months at max. And that would be nice because that means more of my portfolio is invested, generating me money in whatever investment I might put that in. The third part of my financial plan for 2021 is increasing the amount I invest into tax-advantaged funds. So these are your 401ks, your IRAs. These are extremely powerful at a young age. And in the past, I haven't really maxed these out because I needed to have access to my cash to pay for things and build up savings, like savings for an eventual house down payment. And now that that's kind of out of the way and we're building equity in a home, I want to increase my savings rate to about 10% of my total income into tax-advantaged accounts. This will not be maxing them out, but this is my first step towards growing my contributions to those accounts. Do you guys want to know what I invest in inside of my 401k? Because it's not my dividend growth strategy. Typically most people are limited in their investment options in a 401k. With a self-guided IRA, you can typically have a lot more freedom. But in your 401k, maybe I can talk about what I purchase in there and why I do it. We're running low battery on the laptop, so let me know if you want to hear that. Fourth and final part of my financial plan of 2021, I plan on continuing to invest in dividend growth stocks. So this is one of the things I talk so much about on the pod, and I don't want to harp on it here, but I do believe it still to be the superior mode of investing for me. I'm hunting for value in 2021. The market's extremely hot, extremely high, and I'm searching for value. I'm searching for return on my money without it having to be in the actual capital appreciation. Dividend growth investing is what works for me. I love it. and it works for my goals, so I'm going to push forward to try to grow my accounts. Second to everything I mentioned above, but I would love to see, trying to work off my notes. That is, all of this, the dividend growth side of things is second to everything I mentioned above. So this is going to be the last priority in order of these things. So these are in order. I would love to see a market correction in 2021. I think that would be really healthy for the market. I could buy way more stocks at a lower price, but honestly, I don't think that'll happen. So I'll be buying all the way up and all the way down. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my financial plan for 2021. I know it's it's probably not the same quality you guys are used to from us, but we're trying to make it work with our situation. Calvin, get well soon, brother. We're all rooting for you. Until next time, guys, I hope you guys have an incredible end of your 2020 and a great start to your 2021. I hope it gets on the right foot, as I'm kind of hoping for myself. So until next time, my name's Rob Riley. Calvin McChesney is typically behind the camera, but is currently out on leave. My man. This is Free Coffee. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.